That night was supposed to be a joyous occasion, but fate had other plans. On that night, the full moon illuminated the sky with its mesmerizing grace. However, its light couldn't penetrate the darkness that shrouded the chilly air in the rural areas of central Java. Odong and Leah, a couple who had been waiting for this moment for a long time, were about to exchange their sacred marriage vows. Although the night was getting late, the gathering continued in the front yard of Odong's house, radiating warmth and welcoming the arrival of the bride. Everyone appeared cheerful on this special day except Leah. Since late afternoon, she had been feeling uneasy, sensing a lurking presence behind the dense trees in the backyard. However, every time she turned around, there was nothing to be found. Leah tried to push away her doubts, thinking it was just her imagination, perhaps due to pre-wedding nervousness. As the entourage began moving towards the mosque to exchange their sacred vows, Leah felt a tug on her wedding dress. She turned around and was horrified. Standing in front of her was a mysterious figure, pale-skinned with eyes emitting a fiery red glow. His wide smile revealed a row of sharp and captivating teeth. Leah couldn't hold back her hysterical scream, but when everyone turned around, nothing was there. They dismissed Leah's anxiety as ordinary wedding jitters. The wedding ceremony proceeded smoothly, but Leah couldn't stop crying. Her heart told her that the figure she saw intended harm. Shortly after the ceremony, Leah disappeared without a trace from her bridal chamber. A thorough search was conducted, but in vain. The next day, Leah's lifeless body was found in the backyard by Odong's mother. Her body was covered in terrifying bite marks and scratches. Odong was shaken by the gruesome sight, knowing that his wife had met a tragic end. Without hesitation, he sought the help of the village's spiritual healer to reveal the truth behind this mysterious death. Odong mourned with despair at the door of his house. His tears flowed heavily, unable to comprehend why fate had been so cruel in playing with his and Leah's destinies. Suddenly, the mysterious figure of Mr. Imba Jatman, the village's renowned spiritual healer, stepped towards Odong. His face looked serious as he said, "I express my condolences for Leah's departure. There is something I need to convey." Mr. Imba Jatman's voice carried a profound wisdom that momentarily silenced Odong's cries. "Is it true that Leah passed away after getting married in the month of Shuro?" Mr. Imba Jatman asked with concern. Odong nodded weakly. "According to the story I've heard, the month of Shuro is considered inauspicious for weddings. It's believed that the presence of the full moon invites supernatural beings and hidden malevolent spirits. They seek out victims to satisfy their dark desires." Mr. Imba Jatman stared at Odong with a serious expression. "Do you believe that Leah was killed by supernatural beings?" Odong began to understand the healer's intentions. "That's what I need to ascertain. Allow me to perform a ritual to call upon Leah's spirit. Perhaps she will provide guidance regarding the culprit behind this mysterious death," Mr. Imba Jatman said with unwavering confidence. That night in Odong's dark yard, Mr. Imba Jatman began the chilling ritual to summon Leah's spirit. Amidst the quiet of the night, he beseeched Leah to appear and speak. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind blew, accompanied by a heartrending cry that shook their souls. From the darkness emerged the figure of Leah, weeping with sorrow. Who ended my life?" Leah whispered, with tears in her eyes. The answer that Leah would reveal next would shock Odong and uncover the identity of the mastermind behind this tragic murder. With bated breath, everyone waited for Leah's explanation. Mr. Imba Jatman's serious gaze was fixed on her, and he said firmly, "Explain to me, dear, who brought an end to your life." Leah cried bitterly with deep sobs. "That night, when I was alone in my room, the window suddenly swung wide open. A figure appeared, a woman with flowing hair, and she entered with a terrifying pale smile. It was Odong's mother. Someone in the crowd suddenly exclaimed, "Yes, it must be the wicked stepmother." Leah nodded weakly. "She attacked me, scratched and bit me cruelly. I screamed for help, but no one came. I couldn't take it anymore." Leah's sobs were heard before she disappeared. Everyone was shaken by Leah's revelation. It turned out that Odong's stepmother was full of envy and resentment. Unable to bear her stepson's happiness, she sought to destroy Odong's joy. That night, Odong's stepmother was apprehended. She confessed to her deeds, filled with unfounded jealousy. Odong wept bitterly, his heart shattered by the cruelty of his own mother. However, at least the case of Leah's murder had been solved. May Leah's spirit now rest in peace after receiving the justice she deserved. The tragedy that unfolded that night rocked the peace of the village. The darkness that enveloped the sky seemed to reflect the evil that had taken the life of an innocent mother. Odong, now filled with grief and anger, felt that his mother had mercilessly robbed him of his happiness with Leah. Undeniably, Odong's heart was consumed by a burning desire for revenge. He swore to himself that he would never forgive his mother's wicked actions. The night passed, but sleep eluded Odong. Thoughts about his mother kept haunting him. He knew that she was now imprisoned in the village's police station, awaiting the legal process. In the deepest recesses of his heart, Odong felt that the human punishment was too light for the heinous deeds his mother had committed. Suddenly, a wicked idea crossed Odong's mind. Without hesitation, he rushed to the village's police station. With cunning, he managed to drug the guards and open the jail cell where his mother was held. "Mother, you've caused me enough suffering," Odong hissed with vengeance. He struck his mother's face with a powerful blow, causing blood to flow freely. But it wasn't enough. Odong dragged his mother out of the village and into the desolate wilderness. Beneath the dim light of the crescent moon, Odong securely tied his mother to a sturdy tree. "Feel the wrath of your child," Odong yelled in anger as he brandished a sharp knife and plunged it into his mother's neck. Fresh blood began to flow like a raging river. Heart-wrenching cries echoed through the eerie darkness of the forest. His mother's blood flowed freely, staining the ground with a terrifying shade of red. But Odong's smoldering anger hadn't subsided yet. He continued to swing the sharp knife viciously all over the body of the woman who had given birth to him, as if to ensure that his revenge was complete. Amidst his brutal actions, Owen began to experience chilling hallucinations. In front of him, Leah's spirit appeared, her face filled with pain. "Avenge us," Leah whispered softly, piercing his soul. This further ignited Odong's adrenaline, causing him to lose control completely. He no longer had a sense of self, as if he had been possessed by a malevolent force. Not far from there, Mr. Imbai Jatman, who was gathering herbs in the forest, was startled by the horrifying commotion. With a pounding heart, he approached and was horrified by the gruesome sight before him. Odong stood amidst the destruction, his body smeared with dried blood. His mother was no longer recognizable, destroyed by the brutality of her own son. "What have you done, my child? Return to the right path," Mr. Imbai Jatman admonished with a trembling voice. Odong was shocked, as if awakened from a dark and cruel trance. He began to realize that he had crossed a line that should never have been crossed, consumed by an obsession for revenge that had blinded his judgment. His complexion turned ashen, adorned with an expression of deep remorse. Shortly thereafter, villagers who had heard the commotion arrived and arrested Odong on charges of his mother's murder. This tragic and horrifying story reached its final point. Odong would face the consequences of his gruesome actions, while the village sought to free itself from the shadow of darkness that had claimed the life of an innocent mother. The end.